Welcome to Mark's British Airways Fleet Update, looking at short and long-haul fleets.
Welcome to another British Airways Fleet Update here on the Marks, Trains, Planes and Trams YouTube channel. Thanks very much for joining me. It's great to have so much interest in this subject matter. Just a couple of quick requests from me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. You'll get an automatic update if you press notifications as well whenever I release a new fleet update or a flight review or another travel video. It's worthwhile and I'd appreciate you subscribing to the channel. It's also great so many of you press the like button. If you enjoy what I've got to say, if you find it useful, press the like button. And if you've got any thoughts or comments on my fleet updates, if you want to challenge any of the information, if you want to add some facts or information, or maybe talk about something you'd like to see in the next fleet update, do drop me a comment in the YouTube comment section. It's great to hear from you. So let's stick with the normal format. The short haul aircraft come first, and a couple of things just to pick up. On Saturday the 16th of November, British Airways looks all set for A320 Golf Tango Tango November Whiskey to fly from London Heathrow up to Prestwick in Scotland. It's heading to the Chevron Storm maintenance facility for Wi-Fi fitment as the BA9270. British Airways trying to make these moves efficient and not waste a lot of aircraft crew on the move. So the intention is the crew that take November Whiskey up to Prestwick, once they've had a cup of tea or whatever else they fancy, Golf Tango Tango Sierra Alpha will be brought back from Prestwick to London Heathrow as the BA9271 after Wi-Fi fitment. Of course, it's a bit odd, you might think, brand new aircraft joining the BA fleet without Wi-Fi. There is a reason for that. Airbus and British Airways couldn't really reach agreement on how that work would happen prior to the aircraft being delivered. Lots of airlines go for different types of Wi-Fi equipment. It's not a standard part of your new aircraft package. You may find that surprising, but that's how things are in the world of aviation. So British Airways now trying to catch up with that work a little bit easier as the summer schedules have come to an end and British Airways has some capability in its fleet over the winter to get on with that work, and that exactly is what's happening. The other thing that's quite interesting, I think British Airways have recognised they don't have the capability or the resource, the space or the maintenance staff to get on and do all the things that need doing in their fleet, both on the short and the long haul fleets at the moment. So quite a lot of work is going to outside bodies, to outside contractors, to different maintenance bases. Now that adds some cost for British Airways, particularly when the aircraft have to be flown, whether it's around the world across to Manila for the A380s, or in the case of the A320s, slightly shorter flights. I've mentioned Prestwick. There's also aircraft been heading to Birmingham. There's currently 2 members of the Airbus short-haul fleet at Birmingham. One is part of the Gatwick Euroflyer fleet, that's Golf Echo Uniform X-Ray Echo, an Airbus A321 that flew up to Birmingham on the 6th of November, shortly followed 3 days later on the 9th of November by Golf Delta Bravo Charlie Hotel, an A319 from the London Heathrow mainline fleet. So they're receiving maintenance attention at Birmingham. And over in Madrid there's 2 members of the Airbus short-haul fleet, again one Heathrow and one Gatwick aircraft. So we've got Golf Echo Uniform Lima from the London Heathrow A320 fleet that flew into Madrid as the BA9272 on the 28th of October, and Golf Alpha Tango Mike from the Gatwick A320 fleet that arrived on the 1st of November as the BA9752, and that's currently at Madrid with its sister receiving maintenance attention. So they're the main bits of news to report on the short haul fleet. Good to see British Airways cracking on, making progress with Wi-Fi fitment. Let's move across and have a look at the long haul fleet. Well, on the Airbus A350 fleet, it's great to see generally high levels of reliability. None of those aircraft are currently out of traffic for long periods of time. In particular, that's the case since the return of Bravo Charlie from its collision damage. As we've transitioned in the last few weeks from the summer to the winter schedules at Heathrow, it's great to see the A350s making a return to some destinations they've not served for a while, or serving completely new destinations. So in the winter schedules, you'll see A350s heading to Mumbai, to San Diego, and on the South American flights to Rio de Janeiro, and then the sector on to Buenos Aires. I've featured on these videos quite regularly the trials and tribulations, the challenges that come from operating the Airbus A380 fleet within British Airways. Now, I think all of us recognise the A380's a great aircraft. When it works, it's great to fly in, although many of us are waiting with eager anticipation the new first class, the fitment of club suites to those aircraft. And I've talked a couple of times about the reduction in allocated work for the A380s from 10 to 9 aircraft required each day. And British Airways taking advantage of that. There's 2 aircraft still in Manila, Echo Foxtrot and Echo India. No immediate sign of those returning, but British Airways have also had Echo Bravo out of traffic for about a week at London Heathrow. 3 aircraft out of traffic means the other 9 have to deliver the goods and work those 9 service diagrams for the A380. But that's currently what's happening. We haven't seen any significant incidents of aircraft returning after departure with the A380 fleet. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that continues, and very much hope that British Airways is using this opportunity, particularly with the aircraft going to Manila, to try and iron out some of those persistent defects that keep occurring. Looking forward to the start of club suite fitment and first class upgrade on the A380s, but my understanding is that's not going to happen until well into next year, maybe even 2026, although design work continues to approach the point where that'll be signed off and good to go. So that takes us on to the British Airways 777 fleet. Golf Victor India Alpha is still in Taipei. It arrived on the 29th of October. Another example there of the outsourced maintenance that's going on. Back at British Airways maintenance in Cardiff, Golf Victor India Kilo has been out of service, undergoing maintenance since the 26th of October. I noticed on Flight Radar 24 on the 15th of November, the aircraft was started up and was transmitting from Cardiff, but maybe that work's coming to a conclusion and the aircraft will be returning to Heathrow quite soon. And the other 777 that's currently at Cardiff is Golf Victor India Victor. Curious aircraft, this one, because it was refurbished prior to the pandemic for use at Gatwick with first class in the old format, club class in the old format, but refurbished World Traveller Plus and World Traveller cabins. Along with 2 of its sister aircraft, it was moved to Heathrow during the pandemic. British Airways have taken the decision to have slightly less aircraft in the long-haul fleet at London Gatwick, so it's going to become a long-term member of the Heathrow family. So while the World Traveller Plus and World Traveller cabins are in the right format, it needs the new club suites and it needs an update and a reduction in its first class capacity. British Airways maintenance in Cardiff are cracking on with that work and it's being delivered as I speak. And India Whiskey and India Yankee are the other two aircraft in that little set of three that will follow its sister to Cardiff, I'm sure, for fitment. Quite interesting this week to watch the operations of India Whiskey, which has spent quite a lot of time flying to and from New York, both to JFK and to Newark. Of course, it has been British Airways' stated policy since the start of Club Suites fitment 6-7 years ago that New York as a premium business route would only be served by aircraft with the Club Suites. But they seem to be less worried about that these days, and I'll talk shortly about Dreamliner operation as well. India Yankee spending a bit more time on Bahrain and Caribbean, although of course sadly Bahrain will soon be a thing of the past for the British Airways operation. And it's good to note the London Gatwick 777 fleet operating in a fairly stable position. 12 aircraft there, 10 of those operating. The other two are at Gatwick, bit of maintenance going on. Doesn't seem to be any serious issues. So we move on to the Dreamliner fleet, the Boeing 787 fleet. And one of the things that I thought I may be updating you here was the next aircraft to head to Cardiff in the 787-8 fleet for its Club Suites fitment. You'll be aware that Alpha and Bravo in that fleet, Juliet Alpha, Juliet Bravo, have been fitted, but we haven't seen the next aircraft heading to Cardiff. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of coverage in the media about the challenges British Airways face with the Rolls Royce Trent 1000 engine issue affecting their Dreamliner fleet. And now's a good time to talk to you a bit about where we are with aircraft out of service with that Rolls Royce engine issue. And actually, although the media coverage has ramped up, the scale of the problem has actually remained fairly stable. So some of the aircraft that I've spoken to you about before are still out of traffic, but we haven't had anything parked up with engines that can't be used in recent times. So one of the 787-8s, Juliet Echo, has been parked at Cardiff since the 10th of July. So quite a long time, that aircraft out of use for over 4 months. There has been some discussion about why that aircraft hasn't been moved in for Club Suites fitment and get that work done while it's waiting for Rolls Royce engines, but that doesn't seem to be part of BA's policy at the moment. Two 787-9s, both at London Heathrow. Kilo Mike, a more recent aircraft to be parked up for 4 weeks, just over 4 weeks. Kilo Mike at London Heathrow, parked since the 13th of October, and Kilo Oscar parked at London Heathrow since the 25th of June. So that's the oldest aircraft that stopped with these Rolls Royce engine issues. And one of the 787-10s, Lima Delta, parked up for approaching 2 months since the 24th of September. Must be particularly frustrating for British Airways to have an aircraft that's relatively new out of use with engine issues. It's also been interesting to note, as I mentioned briefly when I talked about the 777 fleet, it's been interesting to see in the winter schedules a bit more use of the Dreamliner on the New York routes. I think the intention is to use predominantly the 787-10. In fact, all three of the BA 113, the 115 and the 177 receiving Dreamliners at various points in recent times. The intention to use the 787-10, I suspect, but we have seen a 787-9 flying to New York as well. And that real change of policy, I think, from British Airways about not focusing New York services entirely on Club Suites fitted aircraft. And I think the final point to pick up in this update is just to say the last of the British Airways 787-10s fitted with Rolls Royce engines is Golf Zulu Bravo Lima Lima. The aircraft has been constructed and built at the Charleston facility in Carolina, but no sign of it yet on the UK register. So we look forward with interest to that. And that just about wraps up this British Airways fleet update with an overview of what's been happening across the short and long haul fleets. If you've enjoyed this, do give it a like. If you've got some thoughts, some comments, some things you disagree with, a bit of extra information you think needs to go in to the next update, do let me know. Do drop a comment here on YouTube, and I'll catch you for another fleet update around British Airways very soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.